according to recent research from McKinsey in 2025. Executives at top-performing companies make 40% fewer strategic decisions annually than their peers, yet report 60% higher confidence in outcomes. The difference isn't luck. It's systematic elimination. You're drowning, not in work, in choice. Every morning brings a cascade of decisions masquerading as urgent. Should we pivot this product? Hire that team? Enter that market? Renegotiate that contract? Approve that vendor? By noon, you've made 40 micro decisions and 0 strategic ones. Your brain is exhausted. Your organization is confused. And you're beginning to suspect that the more decisions you make, the fewer good ones actually land. This is the executive trap. Decision velocity feels like productivity. Volume feels like control. But research from the Harvard Business Review in 2026 reveals something darker. Leaders who make more than 60 strategic decisions per quarter experience a 35% increase in decision fatigue and a 28% higher rate of strategic reversals within 18 months. That's not failure in execution. That's failure in architecture. In Singapore's financial sector, where I've worked with C-suite leaders, I've watched brilliant executives sabotage their own vision through decision proliferation. One regional bank CEO was making 70 decisions a week. Not strategic decisions. All decisions. Staffing changes. Budget tweaks. Client exceptions. Technology approvals. 6 months in, the leadership team was paralyzed. Not because decisions were wrong individually, but because no decision had air cover. Everything could be revisited. This video is about the inverse discipline. How the best executives in the world, and I mean the ones running billion-dollar enterprises across Asia Pacific and beyond, are learning to make fewer decisions by being ruthlessly intentional about which decisions matter at all. We're going to walk through 3 frameworks that will shift how you think about your role. First, how to architect your decision architecture so only the decisions that move the needle hit your desk. Second, how to delegate decision rights without losing control. And third, how to recognize when you're making a decision that should never have been a decision in the first place. This isn't about saying no more. It's about saying yes to the right things and building systems so the wrong things never ask for permission. The first insight is decision scarcity design. This is architectural, not behavioral. Great executives don't try harder to make fewer decisions. They redesign their operating system so fewer decisions are required. According to Deloitte's 2026 Executive Decision Study, organizations with explicit decision frameworks, meaning they define in advance which decisions require C-level input and which don't, see a 47% reduction in decision time and a 52% improvement in execution speed. Here's the evidence. Netflix doesn't have a founder approval on content picks. Amazon doesn't require central sign-off on logistics optimization. Neither company lost control. They did the opposite. They gained control by encoding their principles into the system. Take Grab, the Southeast Asian super app. When Grab expanded from ride-sharing into food delivery and fintech, the CEO Anthony Tan could have made every market decision. Instead, he created a decision matrix. Unit economics questions go to the CFO. Go-to-market plays go to the CMO. Technology architecture goes to the CTO. The CEO reviews outcomes quarterly, not inputs continuously. The result was faster market entry, better decisions, and a CEO who could think strategically instead of managing daily trade-offs. Your application. Map your current decision inventory. For 1 week, Log every decision that hit your desk. Then build a simple matrix. Impact on shareholder value. Strategic versus operational. Reversible versus irreversible. Every decision in the upper right quadrant. High impact. Strategic. Irreversible. Stays on your desk. Everything else gets delegated with decision authority. Not just delegation of tasks. Your CFO owns budget overrides up to a certain threshold. Your VP of engineering owns architecture decisions within agreed constraints. You own only the decisions that have no authority center below you. The second pattern is constraint-based authority. This is more subtle, and it's where most executives fail. When you delegate, you typically hand over a project and say, "Make it happen." What you should do is hand over a decision space and say, "Here are the boundaries. These are the parameters you cannot cross. Everything else, you decide." Gartner's 2025 research on leadership delegation shows that teams given constraint-based authority, clear boundaries, explicit trade-off rules, and principle-driven guardrails make 43% faster decisions and report 38% higher autonomy satisfaction. More speed, more ownership, fewer escalations. The difference is tangible. At a Singapore-based manufacturing firm I advised, the supply chain director was escalating pricing negotiations to the CEO. The CEO was making decisions about supplier terms. That's not leadership. That's absentee governance. We rebuilt it. The supply chain director got decision authority within these constraints. Unit cost cannot exceed X. Quality cannot drop below Y. Supplier concentration cannot exceed 40% on any category. Within those guardrails, she owned every decision. Escalations dropped 73%. Better decisions happened faster because the decision maker had clarity, not just permission. The application is direct. For every delegated decision, write down 3 non-negotiables. Not processes, not checklists. 3 principles that cannot be violated. Price cannot go below margin floor. Customer retention cannot drop below 85%. Technology debt cannot exceed 30% of sprint capacity. Give your team the constraint, not the solution. Watch how much faster and smarter decisions become when people know what they're protecting instead of just what they're protecting against. The third pattern, and this one separates great executives from good ones, is what should never be a decision. Most executives spend enormous mental energy on decisions that should have been made once and then automated, not eliminated. Automated through process, principle, or technology. According to IDC research from 2026, executives globally waste an average of 8.2 hours per week on recurring decisions that should have been resolved systemically. That's 425 hours per year. For a CEO, that's roughly 2 months of focused strategy time gone. Think about it. Hiring decisions follow patterns. Pricing decisions follow principles. Escalation criteria follow logic. Yet every variation walks back to your desk as if it's novel. Take a CTO in Bangalore I worked with. He was making hardware refresh decisions for the entire technology estate. Every department requesting upgrades landed on his desk. New monitor, CTO decision. New server, CTO decision. He was making 120 of these annually. We built a simple system. If the requested equipment is on the approved list, approved by TCO analysis already done, and within budget authority, it auto-approves. No human decision. Only the 8% of outliers. Novel equipment, Technology bets. Exceptions. Hit his desk. Decision volume dropped 92%. Strategic focus improved immediately. Your application. Audit your calendar. Find the recurring decisions. Those are your targets. For each one, ask, is there a principle that should decide this? Is there historical data that tells us the answer? Is there a system that can apply the rule? Automate ruthlessly. The decisions left on your desk should feel novel, consequential, and genuinely ambiguous. If a decision feels routine, you haven't designed your business architecture yet. You're still managing it manually. Imagine this. You arrive at the office on Monday with clarity, not overwhelm. Your calendar isn't a series of micro-decisions. It's strategy blocks, mentorship, and decisions that genuinely need your judgment. Your team doesn't wait for permission on 60% of their work. They move with speed because they know the boundaries and they own the trade-offs within them. Your organization isn't paralyzed by consensus or slowed by centralization. It's fast because decisions are being made at the right level, by the people closest to the ground. When something breaks, it breaks because the world changed, not because authority was unclear. And you, as the executive, are no longer a decision machine. You're a strategist, you're a culture setter. You're thinking about what the organization should become, not approving what it's doing today. This is the executive advantage that separates the companies that scale from the ones that plateau. It's not intelligence. It's architecture. It's not superhuman capacity. It's systematic design. Here's what I want you to do this week. Pick one area of your business where you're making more decisions than you should. Build that decision matrix. Assign constraint-based authority. Automate the routine. Watch. Thanks for listening. If you found this valuable, please subscribe to Apex Minds D4J for more powerful insights. See you in the next one.